Mama, welcome to the Mrs. Mummy PhD podcast. I am your host, Dr. Michelle Gibbs, and this podcast exists to help scholarly mamas like you to achieve your life and academic goals without sacrificing what matters most. Here, we're changing the overwhelm, juggle, struggle narrative around what it means to be a mama on an academic journey to one of empowerment, fulfillment, and purposeful success. So how do we successfully navigate these journeys? Well, first, we need the space to embrace this unique blend. Let's begin by saying yes to creating a life that feels as good on the inside as it looks on the outside, because that's when we truly become purposefully whole. So get ready for the most non-traditional, unconventional, and revolutionary approach to PhD motherhood, because one thing I have learned over my many years of experience on this journey is that if you want something different, you have to do something different. But you must be brave enough to think differently first. So, Mama, are you in? Fabulous! Let's begin. These are our journeys of becoming. Hey, Mama, welcome back to the podcast. So, as I'm recording this, it's September, and it reminds me of the fact that just this time, 4 years ago, I was self-publishing my children's book series called the Doodle Dozen series. I was publishing book 1. If you are interested and you've got 4 to 8 year olds in your circle, in your life, please do check out doodledozen.com. I would be so grateful for your support, but I think they'll also enjoy the books as well. And anyway, so I was publishing my children's book series, Doodle Dozen, and just really getting into my creative flair, my creative side, really just tapping into my own creativity. And I did publish an episode way back about becoming a children's author and how that creativity and tapping into it gave me new hope during the pandemic. And I was on a break from my PhD and I thought, let's just do it. It was something that was inspired by my sons and I just wanted to just go for it. So that's what we did. And this time of year is always so special to me because I remember that feeling. I remember that moment of just really needing to get creative and tap into my creativity. But that has made me think about how we can encounter on our PhD journeys, just get into this creative block. And I say creative block rather than writer's block because it's not even just about the writing. There are times where we just get into a bit of a rut in terms of making progress in our research and just being able to move forward and think of new ideas, or if we've, hit a bit of a brick wall in terms of our progress, not being able to overcome that. And so I wanted to share in this episode 7 tips for how you as a scholarly mama can overcome that creative block if you encounter this on your PhD journey. So the first tip, I think, and this is going to come as no surprise, but it's the importance of really taking a break. I say this a lot. In fact, I've published an entire episode called Mama Take a Break, the benefit of the reflective pause, something like that. I can't remember what episode number it is, but you can have a look down and I'm sure you'll find it wasn't that long ago. And really the point of that is sometimes when we're in this creative block, our minds are just not able to shut off. We're not able to shut off. We're not able to really recharge our brains, and we just can't produce anything of any substance. And so taking the break just gives us that opportunity to kind of wipe the slate clean, clear our minds, be open and inspired by nature or by, something that we're reading or, getting into something creative like pottery or drawing or writing or whatever it is that, you do for your creative entertainment. I think it's also a way of coming back to this PhD journey where you've had that block and being able to move forward because your mind's clear, your, stress is at an all-time low and you're able to really think creatively and find solutions to those problems that are keeping you stuck. And the second tip is really changing the environment. And our environment, whether we like it or not, it affects our creativity. And sometimes what we need is inspiration from elsewhere. We need to get up and change our environment, go for a walk, go and work in the office, go on campus if you can do that, go and work in a library, go and work in a cafe, and just change the scenery, right? Yes, it is important to have a dedicated workspace, even if it's a small space or just a desk, but just having that dedicated space. But there are times where spending an hour at a local park or cafe, while somebody's watching the kids for you, or while they're at nursery or at school, can just allow you to have that change of scenery and that fresh perspective and inspiration. And so changing your environment is definitely one way of overcoming this creative block so that you can get back on your path to purposeful success. The third tip is to really tap into your inner child's creativity. And this is what I did with Doodle Dozen. This is exactly what I did. I really just took a break from my analysis, which is what I was doing at the time. And I really just focused on the kids. Obviously, we were in the middle of lockdowns and things, and I was pregnant as well at the time, but really just giving me the opportunity to tap into my inner child's creativity, what I enjoyed doing as a child, writing and being creative with my writing and using my imagination to come up with all kinds of creative stories. And that's exactly what I did. Obviously, I did that alongside my sons, and their inspiration also helped me in coming up with these ideas. So I think really sometimes, yes, you are writing a thesis or you're trying to get your research underway, but if you are encountering frequently these creative blocks, it might just mean that you need to just give yourself a break, go and tap into your inner child, go and color or draw or paint with the kids, go to a pottery class, go and do something creative and get back to that creative inner child that you are, and really just explore that and enjoy it. And that's exactly what I did with Doodle Dozen. And honestly, I came back to my PhD after the pandemic, and I felt refreshed and rejuvenated and ready to take on the challenge of my PhD again. And obviously coming back from maternity leave, you've had that break, you really come back ready to adjust to the new circumstances. And it is my firm belief that by tapping into my creativity and getting past any blocks that I had before my break, I was able to come back and just get on with it. And if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, Michelle, I want to know more about becoming a children's author, please do check out episode 22. I taught all about it in that episode. So the next tip for how you can overcome this creative block is really seeking inspiration from others. Now, yes, obviously you're writing a thesis, you've got your own research that you're working on, but there are times where you may be able to tap into the creativity or the inspiration or the innovation that someone else in another field is doing in their research. It may be the methodology, it may be something else. I remember when I felt really creatively stuck in my PhD, and that's exactly what I did. I actually went and explored the potential of changing my methodology, and it wasn't a quick process, but I eventually got that inspiration that I needed, and I was able to go and do that. I was able to seek the help I needed. I was able to get the mentorship I needed, the support and supervision I needed to make that change. And that came from inspiration of others who had nothing to do with my field at all. And I was able to tap into my creative side, and really that allowed me to find my way through this block that I felt in my PhD. I just should add as well that in terms of seeking that inspiration from others, really engaging in that cross-pollination of ideas, you are able to go outside of your field, right? Go outside of your specific research area and, really explore those other fields. It could mean attending interdisciplinary seminars or workshops, or even seeking one-on-one support from someone in another field who's able to help you get unstuck. And I did it. It definitely worked for me, and I would definitely recommend doing that if needed. It can really, open up your mind to new ways of thinking, new ways of conceptualizing, new ways of tackling your research problems or the creative block that you are feeling. Those diverse inputs can really spark new connections, new ideas, new ways forward, new solutions, new experiments, those ideas that you get from those cross-pollination connections can really be a source of inspiration for your own PhD journey. So definitely look for the connections between the fundamental principles and your research, which can potentially lead to innovative approaches and, solutions to where you feel stuck. Right. The next tip I've got for you is to journal your thoughts. I think when you are in a creative block, when you're in a bit of a rut, sometimes you need to really offload those thoughts and those ideas, those frustrations. Journaling is a brilliant way of doing that. And I know there's different styles of journaling, but you can find a style that works for you and just allow yourself the time, be intentional about it, and just write down your thoughts, write down where you feel stuck. Really give yourself the space, the mental space to brainstorm solutions, to brainstorm ideas for getting out of this creative block. So yes, if you don't do it already, journaling is definitely one to try. And so moving swiftly on, this is probably the last point I'm going to share on this. Really just embracing the idea of being micro-productive. And I know that sounds counterintuitive, but really because, surely you want to make that progress, you want to move forward, you want to be out of the block. So you're like, well, micro-productive, what's that about? But really it's just breaking the tasks, these big elephants that you've got that you're tackling, breaking them down into smaller, more manageable chunks so that you're not necessarily achieving leaps and bounds of progress, but you are still making progress. You're building that momentum and you're moving things forward slowly but surely, crawling out of the hole that you feel stuck in. So really utilizing those short bursts of productivity, perhaps even during nap times if you've got really little ones, or any brief window of free time where you've got the opportunity to tackle a small task can help you build that momentum. So being micro-productive is not always a bad thing, because those little wins that you have and you feel that you've ticked something off the list can help you to build that momentum and just get you back on track and well on your way to purposeful success. And really, I think this is, again, where Scholarly Mama's focus comes in, using the opportunity to co-work, creating a space where you can be productive, but also still have that accountability, I think is really key. And really being quite intentional about using the time that you do have available as a busy scholarly mama with a very long to-do list, but very little time to get it all done. So really just emphasizing the importance of micro-productivity can help you tackle those big tasks and those big periods of feeling in a creative block. I said that was a final, but I'm just thinking of one more thing. Really implementing some sort of routine that incorporates your creativity. So really the power of routines and rituals in priming the mind for creative work. So whether that be listening to specific music, I think I shared with you guys when I was preparing for my Viva, there was one particular song that I always listened to when I needed that inspiration to tackle some kind of big milestone in my PhD journey. For example, getting myself ready for my Viva. When I felt like, oh my goodness, there's no way I'm going to do well in this Viva, really listen to that song, getting my brain mentally ready for what I was about to do. And so I think just incorporating little things, it might be for you something like making a cup of tea, getting your brain, building those connections between that activity and that ritual, and getting yourself into your creative space to work. And it really can help you to unblock yourself from this creative block that you feel. And it really can unlock the way out of this creative block and get you moving forward and making progress. So really being consistent with that ritual is important, obviously. So if you are going to be listening to music, maybe every time you sit down to work, you put on your headphones, if you are somebody who uses headphones, or you just play whatever song or playlist you've got and just getting yourself into that routine, or making yourself that cup of tea and really just preparing yourself for what's ahead. So these are just some of the tips that I wanted to share for anybody who is feeling or experiencing that creative block. like I said, it's not even just about the thesis or the PhD work or any other scholarly work that you're doing, but I think there's really a place for creativity in our motherhood journeys as well, in our daily lives, really, to help us to remember that we are whole people. We're not just PhD students. We're not just, academics. We're not just fill in the blank there of whatever you are, whatever hats you wear. You're not just that, but really utilizing your creativity in a way that helps you to find more joy, more fulfillment in just the everyday, right? So, mama, as you go through this week, go out there and be your bold and brave creative self and make this world a better place for it. Remember that the world is a better place when you are creatively you. And so I hope those few tips are helpful. I am looking forward to seeing you back here next week. And if you enjoy this podcast, make sure you tune in, make sure you subscribe. And if you've got a second or two, leave a kind review so that the algorithms do their thing and share this episode with anybody who is a scholarly mama. So until next time, mama, as always, I'm sending you lots of love and lots of gratitude. Take care. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to the Mrs. Mummy PhD podcast. I hope you've enjoyed the episode, and if you did and you want in on this movement, please head over to mrsmummyphd.com or scholarlymamas.com. If you want to do your PhD well without sacrificing yourself or those you love dearest, then you need your hands on my free training called the PhD with Purpose Webinar. When you join us inside Scholarly Mamas Explore, you'll get access to this free training and so much more. Remember, mama, these are our journeys of becoming.